Soy boy! Yeah! Well, hello dudes and dudettes, and I am here to tell you a story about my most recent road trip down to Unify Gathering 2019. We started off like any road trip. We bought our supplies, packed them in the esky, then journeyed off down the highway to our first destination, Korthal Campgrounds in New South Wales. After a long, full day of travel, we finally arrived in Port Macquarie, where we stopped in for some dinner, some fuel, and to take some gorgeous scenic shots of the area. Just as the sun was setting, we decided to pack it on up, head on off to our campground. It was dark by now as we pulled onto a dusty dirt road full of twists and bumps.
We really should have got here during the day. We're gonna die tonight!
Well, we didn't die, so that's a good thing. Instead, we woke up to a pretty gorgeous looking campground, but we needed to pack up and leave early so we could head on further down the coast. The majority of the trip from Korthal through down to Sydney was relatively uneventful. A few stops here and there, but mostly it was just bands and music the whole way. That was until we finally got down into Sydney and started to get a little tired and had to take matters into our own hands.
This isn't the smartest idea. So, we got Jim's jerky. Shout out to Jim, whoever you are. Big Jim. We've got 400 Ks till our next stop, and we're eating super hot jerky. And I'm going to keep my eyes open so we can actually get to the stop. Cheers.
Heading on out of Sydney and further down the coast, we decided to take a detour down Grand Pacific Drive, a gorgeous scenic route. After a few more hours of driving, we finally arrived in Eden, our next destination for the night. We set up camp, cooked ourselves some dinner, and then got ready again to head off the next morning. The next day's travel was pretty uneventful. We basically gunned it straight from Eden off to our next destination of Warragul. We set up in a hotel for the night so we could get a good night's rest, because the next morning we were off to Tarwin Lower, an hour and a half away from Warragul and our destination for Unify Gathering. We joined the convoy of cars all lining up to enter Unify, slowly making our way through security to park outside our would-be home for the next 2 nights. Immediately gathering our belongings and trudging to find a spot among the hundreds of tents around, we settled on a location, set up and made friends with all our new neighbours. After we were all set up, we decided to head off and explore the venue and check things out like food, toilets and rides, especially since we had a solid 2 hours until the first act. It was also nice to see big banners everywhere around with the full list of all bands playing over the next 2 days and what times they were playing. This made it so easy to figure out who we wanted to see and when. This was also alongside the Preface acronym for Unify Gathering, a nice set of positive, encouraging guidelines for the festival. Finally, it was time to enter the arena. We were privileged to participate in a Welcome to Country ceremony performed by an elder of the Boon Wurrung people. And then with the ceremony complete, it was time to get straight into the music. Throughout the day we had ourselves some drinks, we had ourselves a few moshes, and watched many circle pits tear up a dust storm. My personal favourites was watching Japanese band Crossfaith perform. They not only had some solid lighting, effects and fire, but they continually kept the audience enthralled with their absolute crazy antics. After hours of drinking and dancing, we were buggered. It was time to have a bit of a rest, have a sit down, watch from afar, maybe a bit of a lay down and re-energize. Then we were to head back to the tent, reapply the very necessary sunscreen and jump right back in.
So if you go on a Unify gathering, you could end up like this.
Sunny boy!
Look at that line. Red, white. I'm the whitest boy out here.
Some of the highlights from within the arena were watching people jump through an inflatable tube, mosh cricket, and of course the old mosh. Before we knew it, the festival was over and it was time for our grueling 1900-kilometre journey home. Our first leg was from Unify to Canberra for an overnight stay before deciding to gun it the rest of the way the next day, a solid 14-hour drive. We saw sights along the way and very, very much slowly went insane.
It's an avocado!
We had finally made it back to Brisbane. All in all, an absolute phenomenal week of travel. with that ends our Unify journey, at least for this year. Thank you all so much for joining us in reliving our week off. We absolutely cannot wait for more shenanigans. But for now, I sleep.
Can you do this? I don't think